Good morning, traders. Are you guys ready to get back to the trading game? Like always, it's not easy to be a trader, but there's one thing that's certain is that we're here ready to battle with you guys. We got some breaking news. Nick Brown in the back. Of course, Lord Ryan will be with me. The question is, are you guys ready to get after this week? Let me know in the chat. Let's get after it.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, traders, let's get after it. Let's get to the stock market. I'm going to first bring on my charts, and second, I'll bring Nick Brown to bring us what's going on in this PayPal report right here and why PayPal is getting the lift. Nick will be ready in just a second here. Just going to quickly take a look. The SPY is leaking down a little bit here. We'll see what happens in the SPY today. Of course, going to be looking all around. Still have a position in pen. Might get stopped out of that today. BTU not looking too bad, but starting to pull back also. Market dragging some names, but let's get out of that outlook. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on Nick Brown, of course, and we're going to take a look to see what happened there in the PayPal news. Let's get to the action. What's going on in PayPal this morning, Nick?
Good morning, Ryan or Mitch. Oh boy, what a weekend it's been. A lot going on here. Just within the last 5 minutes, CNBC's David Faber is reporting Intuit's Alex Chriss has been named PayPal CEO and president. That's effective September 27th. Now, outgoing PayPal CEO Dan Schulman, he's going to remain a director until May of 2024. According to him, as they were trying to find this new CEO, they spoke with Elliott Management. Remember, Dan Schulman is under some pressure as everything's been going on with PayPal. But this news just breaking. You can take a look. PayPal's mountain chart, Mitch, we've been talking about this, that PayPal has been coming off. If you could go long term, take a look at that from where it's at. It was skyrocketing. And just looking at the technical terms, it has been well off its highs, well off its where it's been. But from a technical analysis, Mitch, and I know you do like technical analysis, what can you give some insight to people from PayPal if they're holding the stock or are going to buy it? Is this going to be a lift? Could this be a positive catalyst for PayPal?
It could be a very short-lived one, and I think you already saw the pop in the morning. Now, the thing that will happen here is trying to think that if we can bounce back in the overall market, you can see it. It did give that short little pop, but what did it do really quickly? It almost retraced all of it on the pullback there. So we need to see if we're going to get a green type of day in the market in technology, I think, today to see this maybe get the lift. Of course, Square also recently has pulled back, and I'd be looking to see if one of them takes lead, right? They usually like to trade side by side, so I'll see what happens to those two. Right now, I wouldn't be betting too much on that PayPal report just because let's be honest, doesn't really change anything in the fundamentals, right? And it doesn't necessarily change anything in the technicals. It just creates a pop off of catalyst. Now the only question is, will investors want to buy this up right now in this environment? And that's when I get a little bit scared about PayPal, because the truth is it's down near the low and nothing's telling me that it wants to immediately come back. If anything, it got up there in a hurry, but even worse, down in even faster fashion, down in 9 days, down about 16-17%. So it doesn't look good there in PayPal.
Do you think, what about Intuit? If you could throw up a chart
Intuit's actually already going down on it, and you can see it. It's actually already taking a hit. And I think this is actually one more that sets up more for a short opportunity up here. Why? Because it's already been extended. It's had multiple attempts to run to the upside above 500, has been failing that. And now that you get this mention, it could come down and break 490s, come right back up to here towards the 470s, or maybe coming to fill this gap here on the left-hand side where you can see this. This is what I'd be looking for, a retrace towards that 50 moving average. And then maybe it catches the bounce. But I think this is a negative. You guys are already seeing it hit into it. The technicals say to the downside, at least from here. I can see it breaking the support. We'll see what happens there on Intuit and see if it starts to break down. Definitely that last try to attempt towards 500 and then failing. Yeah, I think that's very important. And today, I think I'd be watching to see if it can get to 500 and then quickly reject that. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other action in the markets. I'm just really quickly going to run through some energy. This is the area that I did get out of last week, but it's still looking pretty strong. I think one area that we need to keep an eye out for is crude prices overall, because they're moving up and down, up and down. And I think that now we're getting to the point where maybe we're just getting to the extended point, right? We've been up here in the 82s plenty of times. We recently just made a move to 84, and then now we're creating kind of like this head and shoulders topping action on WTI. So I'm going to look to see if WTI cracks 80 today. If it does go down through that 80, that's where I'd start being a little bit careful. But that's just me, because I think I've played this oil trend pretty high up, right? There's a lot of resistance up here in the 80s and 82s. So let's see if we can hold that on pullback, create new support at 80. But if we crack back down to like 78, 75, that's when I could see oil coming right back down. So be careful, guys. Oil loves to do these kind of up, down moves. So we'll see if it can keep the trend. All right. And of course, I've been seeing a lot of people mention kind of natural gas names. So yeah, that's continued. Definitely not a trade that I'm going to be taking. It's on the ban list for a reason. We'll see what happens on that natural gas trade. If that's your trade or up your alley, hey, power to you. Wish you the best. If I run through the sectors really quickly, energy looking like the best. Communications starting to bounce a little bit. Healthcare also looking like it's trying to catch a little bit here. Financial services have been pulling back as of late, so I'm not expecting too much from there. And utilities. Industrials also looks a little toppy. I'm going to look for Cat, Deere, stocks like that to pull back and give me an opportunity to get back into Deere. But for right now, not going to be going after it right now. And of course, one thing to remind is that Friday you do get Deere earnings, so don't get caught on that. Basic materials pulling back. This is an area that I could actually start looking for, right? We saw all the mentions with X this morning with news. I'll get more coverage on that for you guys with Nick Brown coming up. But definitely going to be looking to see what happens in steel plays today. Steel Dynamics, Nucor, stocks like that can be an eye. And of course, I still have some coal trade. I have BTU. Want this to get back into the green today and start driving back towards that Wednesday high of 24.14. We'll see what happens on BTU. Some coal trade, some basic materials. And of course, we'll keep an eye out on tech to see if we finally get a bounce, or will we continue leaking to the downside. All right, that's going to do it for my outlook. But you guys know who's here, so smash it up. Let's keep it going. My man Ryan back in the house. And of course, Nick has some more news to run through. So we'll go right through into Ryan's outlook. I'm sure he'll go over a couple of stocks, and then Nick can drop some more news. It's good to see you, Ryan and Nick. Let's keep going through it. Let's go to your charts, Ryan, if you could share that for a second. And of course, the chat. I got a question here on Dave. Mitch, I think you're wrong about PayPal, as that's what investors have been waiting for, the CEO name. This is my biggest thing. What does the CEO changing give the company? And that's one thing that I would ask, right? Like, how does that change the company from yesterday? That'd be my biggest question. But hey, I could be wrong. Doesn't mean that I can't be wrong there, right, Dave? So let me know, why is it important that they got this CEO over another? All right, let's keep going. We'll go to Ryan here. We'll take a look at his outlook, and you guys smash the like. Of course, Benzinga Pro. Check it out, pro.benzinga.com. Get your 2-week trial.
My favorite tool. Good morning and happy Monday, Mitch and everyone else. Great to see everyone back. Hopefully we are in for a really, really good week. I'm feeling good. I got the good vibes flowing, so we're going to flow that into the chat. We're going to make some money. We're going to start here by taking a look at the SPY. The last time that we talked about my outlook for the SPY, we talked about it coming into 444 and then possibly the 50-day moving average, which is right beneath it at 443. It looks like that's what we've done here. We've at minimum come into that 444 level. We're trying to bounce, but I suspect that this bounce is not long-lived, ends up rolling over, and eventually we go lower. My target area is this shaded purple area. My target price is this shaded purple area between 426 and 431-ish. That's, I think, where we probably get a more substantial bounce that might be tradable or swingable for multiple days, as opposed to just really quick day trades. That's about it for the SPY outlook, let's go over some of the smaller stocks here. And actually, I'm going to start with a bigger stock. I'm going to start with Tesla. I know this is not one of the smaller stocks. Tesla, of course, has some news. I don't know, Nick, if this was on your list to cover. I'll be very brief.
Yep.
Tesla shares are trading lower after the company cut some Model Y prices in China. Now you can see here stocks reacting to that. We're coming back in. If we take a look at some longer term charts, we're really kind of in a downtrend. So this is coming amidst an already present downtrend. It'll be interesting to see what kind of effect this has. I actually like Tesla for lower in the near term here. We are at a bit of a support area where we could bounce, but realistically, I'd like to see Tesla come in another 20 points or so into the 215, 2 teens area. We'll see if we end up getting down there. I think we could get a more substantial bounce there. Now, I certainly don't think that's going to happen today. We're probably going to have some back and forth, but shout out to all my Tesla traders out there. You folks using this stock like an ATM is really awesome. It's not something I've ever been able to do, frankly. Let's go over a couple of small names, and then I'll turn this over to Nick here so he can roll through the news. First one here is going to be Zyme Pharmaceuticals. Now, we've traded this a whole bunch before. I believe this stock is getting acquired. All right, so if we take the news here, Zynerba Pharmaceuticals CS shares to resume trade. Harmony Biosciences enters into a definitive agreement to acquire Zynerba Pharmaceutical shares for a potential consideration of up to $200 million in cash. So looks like this is going to get bought out. I don't think there's going to be much action here today, but with there being some ambiguity in the press release, we'll see. Not going to be a top target of mine at all. Just want to know what's going on. It's interesting because we've actually traded that one before, and here it is getting bought out. Next is going to be TSHA. This is Taisha Gene Therapies. This is actually taking the next leg up since I first looked at it here. Really nice, strong movement here. This is going to be all about the volume here today. They announced a $150 million private placement financing, and they also reported earnings. So it looks like initial clinical data for first adult Rett syndrome patient dosed in Reveal phase 1 and 2 trial provides corporate update and the financial results. So it looks like despite the private placement, there's some good information coming out on TSHA. It also looks quite strong. We've taken 3 legs up here today. One of the things I'd really like to see is a pullback to a support level that holds. That would give us a tradable entry for it. But TSHA definitely strong here this morning. Next is going to be AGBA. Now, I don't think we've traded this one. At least I haven't traded this one. We did pop just under 150, about 145. It's bled back. We're beneath the VWAP here. We'll see if this gets going. I don't have a whole lot here. It looks like they reported earnings on Friday after hours. Boy, very few companies do that. But looks like we're up here about 40% this morning. So this might be worth watching. One of the things about a stock I've never traded, I definitely want to kind of get a feel for it right out of the open, see how it trades, all that, before actually taking a stab at it. I'd love for this to base, maybe trade sideways, and then bang right through that VWAP. That would give us a potential move up to like 146, 147, and maybe even a break above, which would give us an even better trade. So we'll see if that materializes. TMC, TMC Metals, the metals company. This actually did have a piece of news. This went up almost 168, not quite 170. Came back beneath the VWAP, but I expect this VWAP to be challenged again. The metals company shares are trading higher after the company announced a registered direct offering at $2 per share plus warrants. Looks like the market is liking that. This one will just play on the technicals. We've played this one before. We'll do the same thing here again. Plenty liquid, so we should have no trouble playing this name here today. X, I know I missed the beginning because I was on a meeting here, but X, gonna give it to you. I know that they're getting acquired here. I don't know if Mitch covered it. Nick, I'm sure you're going to cover it. I'm looking all clean with the shirt and tie there, so I'm just going to let you go ahead and do that. I'm going to move on for right now. GNS, we actually traded this on Friday. This had a really, really nice move. Looks like it's holding that and looking to go higher here on GNS. Big level for me is going to be 150. That round number, definitely, if it moves through there, perhaps we take out the pre-market high at 155. And maybe we can even move higher from there. So we'll see. GNS, continued momentum from last week. There were a couple more on here I wanted to go over. GGE was not it. Ape has some news here for all you Ape traders out there. I'm going to avoid this one, though. ASNS is popping off of the bottom. PBLA, we've traded this one off the scanner here before. Looks like the volume really dried up here. New patent in Europe. So patent news is hit or miss. Some stocks it really affects it, others it doesn't. We'll see if this one ends up getting a run here. We really need to move through the View app. I also noticed that SoundHound is on here, so maybe AI starts to trade a little bit here. I'd wait for that to materialize before counting on that. And also IONQ. This was some of our quantum computing names from before. So, Nick, I'd be happy to drive here. What do you want me to take a look at first for you, my man?
I was going to say, if you could throw up a chart of Ford and Apple. We just got some news from Ford Media that Ford is hiring Apple veteran Peter Stern to lead the new era of customer experiences powered by software and services. So Stern is named president of newly formed Ford Integrated Services. To give you some background from Peter Stern, he was formerly the vice president of services at Apple, where he oversaw Apple TV Plus, iCloud, Apple News Plus, Apple Books, Apple Arcade, Apple One, Apple Fitness Plus. Stern is going to be reporting to Ford president and CEO Jim Farley. He will build a world-class team to create and market innovative customer experiences by integrating hardware, software, and services across Ford Blue, Model E, and Ford Pro. This is going to accelerate the Ford Plus strategy to transform the company by building sustained, always-on customer relationships and capturing new high-margin services, subscription, and other digital revenue. According to the Ford release that I'm quoting from, Stern will build out the business tied to Ford's Blue Cruise hands-free driving system, as well as productivity and safety and security services. And he's going to oversee new physical services marketing, and Ford Next. This release and announcement just coming within the past 10 minutes. We will see what Ford does and how this all comes together. As a lot of these companies, we know as Apple is trying to build a car. So this is going to be one to watch as Peter Stern is now moving to Ford. If you could throw up a chart of AMC and Ape, I know this is going to probably target a lot of the crowd here, but on Friday, we got news that AMC's revised stock conversion plan has been approved by the court. The court's approval clears way for AMC recapitalization effort. And this, remember, the cinema chain faced Chapter 11 threat in the wake of the pandemic. We can move to shares of U.S. Steel and Cleveland-Cliffs. The U.S. Steel is exploring strategic alternatives after getting unsolicited bids. The iconic steelmaker received multiple unsolicited proposals. U.S. Steel rejected an offer from Cleveland-Cliffs. The company has been undergoing a major manufacturing transition, and Cleveland-Cliffs CEO will be on CNBC in the 11 a.m. hour. So watch for more volatility around Cleveland-Cliffs and X. I know X this morning, U.S. Steel Corp, is skyrocketing pre-market. So just watch volatility there. Ryan, this does affect a lot of us because Goldman Sachs at its baseline forecast calls for the Fed to start cutting rates in Q2 of 2024. That is according to a new note released Sunday, led by Goldman Sachs' chief U.S. economist, David Mericle. In that note, he says, quote, our baseline forecast calls for the FOMC to start cutting the funds rate in 2024 Q2. We are penciling in 25 basis points of cuts per quarter, but it could get cut more quickly if it is more confident that the inflation problem is unlikely to return, end quote. Right now, we do know that the market is pricing in cuts. The timeline is unclear. We'll see coming up as we get Jackson Hole next week, and we'll see what happens in the September meeting and November meeting, as a lot of banks are pushing their call. B of A did push their call from September to November for one last 25 basis point hike. We'll see how inflation continues to go. We'll see if we see a spike in inflation due to commodity prices. That is something to watch. If you could throw up a chart of Paramount Plus, Neeraj Kimlani, the president and co-head of CBS News and Stations, is stepping down from his role, according to a Sunday report from Variety. Kimlani told employees in a memo on Sunday he's leaving his current position for a new, quote, multi-year first look, end quote, deal with CBS, the report said. It is not immediately clear who will succeed Kimlani. Regarding Tesla, you touched on the rate cut or the cuts, the cuts from China.
Model Y cuts, yep.
Yes, they said that its Model Y long range and performance visions, a version starting on August 14th, shares are lower because that's putting pressure, Ryan, on their profit margins and further pressure regarding the company. Now, the electric car reduced its starting prices by about $1,934 here in the U.S. That's about 14,000 yuan. The Model Y long range starting price drops about 4.5%. We're going to see if these price cuts do eventually come over here to the US. And we know that the US Tesla area has been cutting prices. Regarding Tesla, there was some news out of Electric this morning saying that Tesla says it will build its new, quote, first of its kind data centers. That is according to Electric. The automaker is hiring staff for it and snapping up some existing data centers. The data center business is now massive with a market size of more than $250 billion. Tesla didn't explain how those data centers will be first of their kind, which is not something you expect in a job posting anyways. And to end it off, in a note this morning, B of A Bank of America, Savita Subramanian, who is head of U.S. equity and quantitative strategy, is changing weighting on 2 different sectors. According to the note, quote, 10 reasons to get cyclical. We have been increasing positive on U.S. cyclicals since April. We raised consumer discretionary to overweight from underweight and lower consumer staples to underweight from market weight, end quote. That's your news update. It was a fairly busy weekend regarding the news front. Remember, we still do have some earnings this week. I believe we have Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, a lot of the consumer stocks, and we'll see how spending goes, and we'll see if they can beat expectations. Other than that, this is my last full week of live trading. You only see me until Tuesday of next week, and then I am out of here as I prepare for back to school. So let's make this a good week here on live trading.
Do you think that we could petition to not have you have class during the show so we can continue to bring you on during the school year to drop Nick bombs? Is that something that's possible?
Anything is possible. It doesn't
All
hurt
right.
to ask.
That's what I want to hear. Anything is possible, folks. Anything is possible. Okay. Rick, really quickly asking about ticker WE. Ryan, thoughts on WE? We worked. Am I right? Looks like this is just a complete disaster. This chart not working, doing the opposite of working, and is now a penny stock. My thoughts on this would be avoid. But if you folks that are good penny players are able to spot and time some momentum, maybe this is a play for you. For me, this is a no touch. Happy Monday, though, Rick. Sorry. I hate giving good people bad news. But to me, no touch here. All right, let me flip over to the main workspace here, and we'll get ready to go. Let me get my stuff set here. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Yeah, ZYN, he's not going to move after the merger. Metals company starting up here. Oh, let me get that loaded up here. All right, I was a little bit late on this. I feel really good, but I was just a little bit late on this Monday, so I didn't have all my stuff ready to go. All right, let's check GGE. This was Smoke Tuna. You got your eyes on GGE. What are you seeing? Right at the VWAP. Maybe this breaks and goes. Actually, GGE, this is not bad. This is not a bad setup. We get some volume here. Maybe this will go. We'll watch this, Smoke Tuna. Good call. Nick is fantastic. Hope he's here full time after school is finished. Greg, me too. My fingers are crossed. Nick likes us. We like him. So chances and prospects are good right now. Okay. Is there anything else you folks want to take a look at? Cedric, you wanted to take we got 2 minutes before we open here, so we can keep flipping around some charts. You wanted to take a look at Micron. Micron, I think this is probably getting ready for a bounce, but this is likely going to trade with the rest of technology, which is for the first time showing some weakness. I don't anticipate this to drop below 60. Like this company long term, just don't see a whole lot of near term positive catalyst. Marvell was the other one that you were looking at. This too looking like this is rolling over. In fact, Marvell looks like we're actually breaking, and we might have a potential gap fill to the downside here to 49. You're giving me an idea here though. What do options look like on this? Options are plenty liquid on this too. So this might be, and this is interesting. Now you've got me wondering. Maybe we do get back down here. $50 put, 120, 119 ask last Friday. That's likely to go up a little bit here. So maybe a possible gap fill trade to the downside here on Marvell. AMRS, Smoke Tuna. Let's take a look at AMRS. We got a penny stock here. It's like this recently plunged and is trying to come up off the bottom. There's your bell, folks. Market is open. Smoke Tuna, I think I see what you're seeing. You're looking for more of a curl here and then maybe into that gap. By the way, TMC off the open here, just a big move right away. GGE's first move was down. So I'm going to take a look. ASNS. This one. No, let's take a look at TMC. Let's see if any of these are going. Not really. ASNS. This really isn't even moving yet. GGE 150, by the way. TMC right to its VWAP and now lifting above on TMC. If TMC can get roll, let me turn the VWAP back on. There we go. Let's get, oops. Whoa. Okay. Let's see if TMC can get rolling here. You guys got some more stuff that you want to look at. We will. TMC up to 149 here. So that was a nice move through the VWAP. Volume looks good here on TMC. I didn't grab very much of this. I only grabbed 500 shares. So I'm not really even making a whole lot of money. But let's see if we keep getting a push here. 168 was that pre-market high. That might be a little too far for this first move, but we'll see.
Ryan, watch
looking good.
Bitcoin. Yeah. Watch Bitcoin. There's news out of Axios that CoinDesk, the crypto media company that broke the story that led to the fall of the crypto exchange FTX and the founder of Sam Bankman-Fried, is eliminating positions according to an internal note from its CEO to staff obtained by Axios. The expected cuts are part of a broader effort meant to help the company curb costs to facilitate a sale. CoinDesk's parent digital currency group, DCG, they are reporting is trying to finalize a deal to sell CoinDesk to an investor group for $125 million. The note didn't explain which roles were being eliminated or how many, but in note that the cuts would predominantly hit the firm's media team.
Okay, I took TMC off here. It doesn't look like it's going to go. I didn't have enough of it, so just kind of took it off. We'll wait for this to set up again. Real quick, Smoke Tuna calling TSAT here. This trading up here. We'll see if this ends up going as well. WIS is in AMRS. You guys, it looks like multiple people shouting AMRS. This was that penny stock. Like this went to the VWAP and was rejected right at the VWAP. Tesla's still falling here. You got that right, Wellness Matters. TMC back in towards that VWAP and maybe a little bit higher now. We'll see where that ends up going. TMC, I might have been faked out on that. I would like to get some more though. It didn't really have a whole lot. We work on the scanner. So there you go. We work. I was just shit talking it. We work breaking out of its pre-market formation. Let's see. Maybe that's all I have to do is just crap talk the stocks and see if that changes things. By the way, GGE down to 138 here. A lot of selling right out of the open here. Really want to see this firm up before we try trading it. Looking around for some other stuff. Crow taking TSHA at 140. Would have really liked to see this come into the VWAP. See, maybe it still will. 133 is the VWAP I have there. Born, good morning, my man. Hope you're doing well today. Turn my notifications off here. Marvell bouncing, by the way. It was a little bit weak in the pre-market there. Bouncing now on Marvell. Was that Rick, I think, that asked about that? Who was that? Yeah, Rick. No, that was on WeWork. I'm mixing it up. I'm sorry about that. Born, you're doing excellent. That's what I want to hear. TSHA, looks like this is bouncing here. Good grab there, Crow. Smoke Tuna Mounts mentioning Rigetti again. Rigetti has really been good to us recently. Looks like we just kind of went through the VWAP. Let's see if we go up and take out or attack that. What high we got at 275. See if we can move up there. By the way, GGE Smoke Tuna might be bouncing off this 238 level. We'll see. TMC still strong here, kind of flagging. In fact, if we take a look at TMC, kind of have this flag pattern on the 1 minute chart, looking like this is either going to go higher or break down. To my eye, it looks like it wants to go higher here. We'll see.
What up? What up? What up?
Mitch is back.
All right, let's
Guys,
do
watch
this.
AMC and Ape. Reuters is reporting that AMC said on Monday its 10-to-1 reverse stock split will take place on August 24th, and its preferred shares of Ape will be converted to common stock on August 25th.
Mitch has big thoughts about that one. He loves that stock.
Yeah, that's my favorite, right?
I mean, I'm just trying to get something going here on a Monday, Mitch. You hate that stuff.
All right. Looking at Penn, it did get a nice little jump right here to start. So on pullbacks to VWAP, I'm going to add today on Penn. I still got it from Friday, and so that's a swing. So looking at that, and also keeping my eye on BTU today. It's right near my average. I could add on that one, but I'm just going to wait and see how that one reacts today. Really want that to get back above 23s and start pushing towards the 24s. But Penn getting a little lift here. We'll see if I'm able to hold on to it.
TMC did take that leg up there. It did it without me, so shame on me for missing that one. I'm going to call that a miss. Straight up. We actually went to that pre-market high and above on TMC. Great trade there. I screwed that one up. Still got out with profit, but left a lot of money on the table. Not a good entry. Not a good exit either.
All right, looking around, drip is interesting for me today as I'm seeing energy come down in every sector in the red from the open. Now defensives just quickly getting a nice little spike. And of course, if every sector is down, we could look at defensives, an area where it gets hot today. Looking at discount stores getting hot right now. Let's find out which one specifically. Walmart looking good, Costco pushing higher, and of course, Target pushing higher. Target reports later this week, and we get Walmart later this week. We get a lot of retail coming in this week, so watch that. That seems like a play right now. Even Target, I would say, looks like a little bit of a play here towards the upside. We're seeing discount stores lead there in defensives, actually turning the sector green. So that's very important to kind of catch, right? Focusing on the sectors and the industries right now. I would focus on that as you're seeing a lot of red action today. You could see some dragging. And of course, when the market's not hot and there's not momentum names going higher, that's when I'm really going to call red flag for those penny stock traders and the smaller name traders out there. I would be careful, guys, because as we get more and more uncertainty in the market, that's usually when momentum dies off. Not when you're seeing the penny stocks move. So I'm just going to put my warning flag out there. But hey, to each his own if you guys like those smaller names.
If Target misses on earnings, that's my fault. I haven't been to Target in just a few weeks. Just putting that out there.
Okay, Nick being responsible here. TSHA making its way back to VWAP here. We'll see. I got 137 as VWAP.
Pen pulling back here. Gonna take a little bit. Oh, it was real quick. Real quick off that VWAP. They bought it real quick off the VWAP. And it was right off the VWAP. So it's looking good. I just need a little pullback here to add. Gonna look for 2370s on the pullback. What are out there at 2370s? Any pullback in Penn? I'm going to go ahead and look to add for the swing. Of course, look at that pullback and extension from VWAP. Pretty. And it was quick. It didn't give me more than a second there when it went to VWAP. And it's already right back up there to 2388. Want to see this get into the 24s, really, and then start reversing off this daily trend. And then I can risk off this kind of 23 area. And then that doesn't seem too bad. I'm risking about $1 here for a move that can come right back there towards, like, let's say $6. I can do that, right? 6 for 1. Let's see what happens. X up 25%. Let's see how much it's up from the open, though. That matters more, guys. And this is why I always talk about how much is the stock up from the open is so important to me. That I don't care about it being up 23% because it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters to me is more from the open, right? And I think
Mitch,
that's one thing that can easily trick you. You know?
Real quick, just to jump in here, Mitch, just for awareness, I don't use it, but maybe you should, or maybe we should both start.
Yeah.
Benzinga Pro's scanner has filters that are from the open. Yeah. So it will ignore the pre-market. In fact, they even have filters for the pre-market open, if you wanted to check that out as well. So I know everyone does it a little bit differently, but definitely check out Benzinga Pro. We've got filters for that.
Yeah, and then one thing you see is steel actually declining right now, not going to the upside. And so that's where it kind of gets tricky, right? Everyone comes in the morning and they start playing steel dynamics to the upside, and that's where you can get caught. Now you're getting those quick pullbacks below, kind of going towards pre-market support. Let's see if buyers do step up here. I'm not saying that no one's going to buy X today, but that's just one thing to keep in mind, right? And I like to pay attention to from the open because that's easily how you can go after a stock thinking that it's up big, but really, is it up big from the open? It hasn't been doing much action, at least since pretty much 5 a.m. It's at the same price that it was at 5 a.m. pretty much.
Wow, you
gotta
up
be
that
careful.
early.
I mean, hey, the prices don't lie, right?
No.
All right, we'll see what happens there in steel if they get back into the green. I am watching basic materials today, but it's just a bloodbath out there, guys. Every sector into the red except now technology starting to get the flip. What just went strong there? Nvidia going to the upside, Apple going to the upside. So now we're getting this tech turnaround, guys. So you could see this little push actually get Soxel moving there. It just did a nice little run there to 2180s. I'd look for pullbacks at 21 now, at least myself. We'll see what happens on Soxel as you are getting a little bit of some tech bounce back. If the tech can bounce back, eventually I feel like the Qs will lift all tides. We'll see what happens. SPY now starting to make an up move. We'll see if some sectors going to the green.
TSHA is going to get halted here. TSHA is going to get halted. I actually bought some at 154 on the move up here. Halted.
I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned it earlier. I think it was, and I'll scroll back to just catch my comment there.
Crow's been on this one from the beginning too.
SMCI going higher, guys. Definitely. That's a nice move today. And like I mentioned to Sydney, it was a great mention this morning. She told you right off the hop, 914 SMCI industry conference. Pay attention. I thought that could get the bounce today. It did get the bounce. Wicked bounce up.
And by the way, Mitch, check out NVIDIA. Check out NVIDIA on that chart. It's taking NVIDIA with it on that move.
Yeah. And a big part of that is, of course, CMCI led the down move. So when you see that coming back, sympathy starts coming in for the other AI names. And then this one's already been huge beaten down, right? And it's down about 38.2% and went even further from the highs. So just be careful out there. Retracements make sense. It bounced off the 250 area. So maybe retracements to 250s. And you can see today it just lifted off from that level. We'll see if we get some pullbacks back towards 253 or 251. I would love a pullback to 251. I would maybe even take a shot there, but it's already lifting here up there to 259 now. Just hit close to 259, 258.49. We'll see if it gets there to 259. Nice little lift there. And like I said, technology going really quickly. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what other ones are mentioned in the chat. Trying to catch up.
ACHR, big move out of the gate here. Looks like it's bouncing back after that sell-off last week.
All right, we'll go back to the Qs. We'll see if that can hold a 945 move and actually bounce off the VWAP and go right back up. Because if we just crush right back down, it could just be a trap, right? We'll see what happens here. Do we start getting the uplift? Of course, I was starting to play Microsoft on Friday, and it went really quickly right back down. I'm watching this trend line on Microsoft. I think it's very important to keep watch on Microsoft. It's going to be one of my leading indicators if the market wants to come back. I have a feeling there'll be a day. I don't know when, but there'll be a day that Microsoft puts a big green bar to the upside. I have no idea when it's coming. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking to use that as an indicator that the market wants to come back. Sound, oh man, I can't trade Sound in this environment. I know that it had decent earnings, but hey, it is making moves right now.
FNGR, real quick. This is a decent looking chart here. Let me pull this up. Boy, I am screwing this up though. FNGR right here. So nice little move. You can see Friday high 580. This looks to be the spot. If we go out to the daily chart here, 580, that first spot, but this realistically can go into a 7 handle and look out if it breaks that. So nice little uptrend here on finger motion. Nice, having a nice little morning here today. 580 right at that spot. Still waiting for Tasha to open. TSHA. Tasha.
All right, got to set the stop ready here for BTU if I need to get out. So I'm setting that up right now.
Oh wow! Look at Micron. So who was this that asked about Micron and Marvell earlier? I forgot your name. Huge move for Micron here out of the gate. How's Marvell doing? That was weak in the pre-market and immediately bought back and is now green here. Great spot, whoever that was. I'm sorry I missed your name. Let me go back and find that.
We just got
credit.
this. Yeah, we got this overall move in tech. That's definitely helping them out. I don't think it's very stock specific here that you're getting these rallies. It's just an overall technology push here.
Yeah, but no, before this move happened, Cedric giving you MU and Marvell, both of those have moved nicely out of the gate here. That's a great call, Cedric.
No, not bad names to be in, at least if you're the ones that you're picking in tech. That's what I would say. Specifically, that's what I like there. We'll let you guys know. Let me see. Did I get anything to actually fill there? Let me see. I'm just looking. I heard some noise here, so I'm trying to pay attention. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's all good. Cedric is just confirming it was him. I was asking for info on Micron and Marvell. I don't know that they really did. They have new news here today? I don't see any. I think it's just the laggards.
These are the laggards. So one of the things is that if you're going to go after tech names, what would I be looking at? I wouldn't be looking at the high flyers. I'd be looking at the ones that have a lot of consolidation in this area, because those are the ones that could get the lift first before the ones that need to come back down, that are the huge, like, overvaluation ones, right?
Out Tasha. So Tasha's going to get halted again. Sorry to interrupt, Mitch, but I'm out Tasha at 176. It's going to get halted at 177 if this holds here on Tasha. I'm all out. I'm all out with a gain, but this is going to halt again. Sorry, Mitch. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but that happened fast.
You're good, my friend. You bring that Tasha. All right. Well, we'll let you know that I added in there on Penn. So I do have a full position now on Penn at 23.84. So we'll see if Penn's able to hold the pullback. Also set the stop there for BTU, but we'll just pay attention to see if Penn can get back up above the 24s. It just pulled back to the VWAP one more time. What am I going to use as my out now? Just the low of the day, the 36. Anything below 23.36, and I'll look for a move back up above 24 on Penn. Let's keep taking a look at technology. It is pulling back, though, guys. It's just slightly green now, 0.03. So you are getting a pullback opportunity here. There are some that are leading here, like you guys just mentioned, that Micron move. That's definitely one to catch. And then some smaller names. I can point some out there. HRYU, LTCH, HRIT. It's a $14 stock. There's some cheaper ones like Sound, right, showing up here. But keep your eyes on the big boys here to see if they can stay in the green. Apple pulled back quickly. They're right back below the VWAP. Google looking strong a little bit there. NVIDIA, of course, a little bit higher. We'll keep watch. Just got out of BTU. Yeah, got hit there in BTU on the small account. So I'm out of BTU. Still got a Pen here. We'll keep watch on it. So now you're going to see tech names right back down.
Watch Disney. There was a news out of Puck News over the weekend. It's circling the wires again, saying that Iger may be consulting Warren Buffett and Meyer and Staggs about his streaming options, but in the everything on the table area at Disney, well, there aren't that many options really on the table. That's according to Puck News. So watch Disney. Remember, we do get 13 F filings, I believe, this week regarding all the different quarters. So watch Warren Buffett, see what he's buying this week, because Iger has been very optimistic about the U.S. economy. He's been putting some stuff in Japan, money in Japan. So we'll see what he buys and what he has been buying. But remember, the 13 F filings, when they're released throughout this week, mainly on Fridays after the close, that doesn't mean that's currently what's in the holdings. Remember, they are delayed. So just watch and see what could be circulating.
I'll be honest, this sounds like a desperation move for me on Disney. Just my 2 cents, not trading advice.
Well, streaming is very streaming. That's the new talk of the town because of all the different streaming services. You have Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu. is there eventually going to be a bundle where you can buy just one and you have everything, or do you have to subscribe to these individual streaming services? And is streaming going to be the new TV era? I know many people canceling cable because of how expensive it is, and they're transitioning to the streaming era.
Yeah, until they
A la
realize that they
carte.
don't have all the content that they want, and like you, they're asking for a streaming service that has all of that. They're gonna release one. It's gonna be called cable.
I don't think so.
We'll see. We'll see.
I
What
don't think
happens.
so,
I think the
guys.
streaming services are way too segmented, and I think
That's
people
what it's
are.
about. That's their goal. That's the
and-
goal, man. The goal
No,
is a
I
la
get it, but
carte.
it's bad for the
It's like when
consumer,
you go to-
Mitch. That's bad.
It's like when
That's
you go to
not
Five
good.
Guys. It's like when you go to Five Guys. They want you to pay for your fries. They want you
They're
to pay
too
for your
expensive.
shake.
Let's not even
They
go.
want you to pay for
Yeah,
your
I was gonna
burger.
say.
They want you to probably pay for the salt that you put on your fries, but they haven't done that yet. But that's what I'm saying.
Before I go
So,
to Five Guys,
we're gonna keep
Five
doing
Guys. I
this.
got to go to the bank and take a loan out.
Now, one thing that you got to focus, and cable doesn't give you everything. I think cable's really kind of done, and you can tell Disney's gonna sell out. I think their sports side business. So they're gonna sell their cable business, and that's what's the next thing out the door. So they're gonna be trying to take away the stuff that makes them no growth to try to bring growth back. So what is the move they got to do? They got to first get rid of that Fox that they bought, that it was just, no offense, but it was just not a good deal for them. And they're not going to be in broadcasting anymore. Broadcasting is not what they want to be a part of. Even the Disney Channel, I think eventually is going to disappear from cable and just go strictly to Disney Plus. That's a good move, actually, I think at this point. If you want subscribers, you got to take it off the cable and actually make them go to Disney Plus to see your content. That could be the move that actually brings more subscribers. You got to be bringing more content, but Iger said he wanted to spend less on content, and that's also going to affect them.
JR or RJ, nice handle. Cable is actually being reinstalled with faster fibers all around my neighborhood. This doesn't surprise me at all. And again, I think that the next step in everything that's going to go on here is going to be kind of like a pricing war. Once content is not the big focus, which it is right now, I do not agree. I do not want to say cable is dead yet. Every person that I know that has switched from cable to streaming services has gripes with it in some way or another. So I'm not saying it's going to make a huge comeback. It's going to be super profitable, but I don't think it's dead.
I will say cable is very expensive regarding if you just have cable alone, before you're adding on top of the Wi-Fi, that's very expensive. And go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, I have cable still. Okay. And the only reason that I have it is because I'm able to get the channels that I want, which is not the case for everybody. Okay. I totally understand. They have ridiculous packages that make it even more expensive. I'm not denying that, but I'm able to get the packages that I want, and I bundle it with my internet, and my internet is the most important thing. It's more important than the television, and it's more important than any streaming service because it's how I work. So, and the other thing is that in my area, the cable provider also happens to be the best ISP. So by getting the best internet I can, I'm also able to bundle cable at a cheaper price than I would normally be able to do it, and still be cheaper than the a la carte streaming services, 3 or 4 that you would have to have. What I will say, though, I did buy the NFL Sunday ticket via YouTube. So say what you will about that.
Yeah, they got you there, right?
They got me there, Mitch. They got me there.
But what did YouTube TV that DirecTV didn't do? This is a huge, important plus. You don't need to actually get YouTube TV. You can just get the Sunday ticket. This is going to be a massive move, Ryan, that helps them versus how DirecTV did it, which is like, oh, well, you need to get our service, and then you could get the Sunday ticket. Well, they're being smart. They're trying to get everybody to switch over to YouTube TV versus sticking with that DirecTV. And of course, they're giving you a discount if you do add the YouTube TV content. They're giving you, I think it's like a $15 discount or something like that a month.
Yeah, it's much cheaper. I think it's something like $100 or $150 cheaper to have the package if you have YouTube TV. But I completely agree with you, Mitch. The big decision that they made, that was the winning decision, was to say you don't need to even have our service. We're going to let you buy this. We're going to charge you more, but we're going to let you buy this. And here's the thing, Mitch, maybe my opinion changes. Maybe I have the Sunday ticket and I like the YouTube delivery and interface so much that I say to myself, maybe I could cancel TV and go to YouTube, which allows you to select the channels that you want. So I really think that was the smart move. I think that was the most important part of the entire decision, Mitch, was that they allowed people to have it a la carte and then gave people that had YouTube TV a discount. That was the move.
This is one of my highlights from our sports betting industry conversation just a week ago. So if you guys didn't check out our sports betting industry update, we talked about future catalysts that could come in here and actually give Google a lift. Because if all of a sudden they get a massive amount of people subscribing to YouTube TV, and that's a part of their next earnings report, wouldn't you expect to see some upside on the analyst outlook, Ryan? You know what I mean? I think
I'm sorry. I was not paying attention.
So one of my biggest things that I brought this up in the sports betting industry update was that a surprising catalyst that could come in here for Google is that you're starting to see some more YouTube TV usage because of the Sunday ticket. And that actually gives Google the uplift, right? They're able to talk about that. They're able to bring that up as a positive catalyst. Next thing you know, what do? You see analysts chase that catalyst, right? They're like,
that's a good point.
Well, YouTube TV and Sunday night and Sunday ticket, guys, going to give these guys the lift. Let's go give a price target up a little bit higher.
Yeah, and guess what's
140s, 150s.
And Mitch, in the first couple weeks of the season, if we have a super exciting open to the NFL season, you don't think analysts are going to play that up? Nah,
yeah,
for sure they're going to play that up for sure.
Well, that's why I'm long Penn. Let's just be honest, right? And you guys know
Alexa,
I love to play
Google.
seasonal plays. Seasonal plays for me include things like this on Penn. And you gave me a catalyst. You brought this thing back down to me. I'll take a shot. We'll see what happens. Monday brought out in the chat there. They did report today. That's getting the lift. Technologies continuing strong. At least for right now, it seems like the only hot area to be if you're playing upside. If you're playing upside somewhere else and you guys see things moving, please let me know, because I don't see much moving except some technology names to the upside. Oracle doing well there. Looking around to see what's standing out to me. Monday's definitely doing well. SMCI came back to VWAP. It's just battling at 255. We'll see if it continues going. But definitely seeing some of those names get the lift today. Healthcare is trying to sneak back into green. So I'm looking to see what could sneak back into the green. Healthcare is starting to come back after making a hard bottom. Healthcare plans really kind of driving the boat here. UNH going higher. ELV, CVS setting up. We'll see if it comes right back up. Cigna going higher. Humana. So you're seeing these names really going higher right now. Coming to you, Ryan. What do you see out there?
I was taking a look at TGTX. Remember, this was the thing I took a huge hit on playing for I was only expecting it to maybe go down 10, 15, 20% and got a 50% haircut overnight, lol. But we just got a piece of news here. CEO bought about $1 million worth of shares. That popped the stock. This is what I was looking at. What I wanted to mention here was going to be Tasha. We've gone through 2 downside halts. Now, excuse me. We went 2 upside halts into a downside halt. Now we've opened lower here at the VWAP. This is why I took the stock off right after that first halt opened up. I didn't want to play with fire, so I took it off. Booked a little bit of a gain there. We'll see if this sets up again. I don't know, but this is what I was looking at. Born saying shop on the 10-minute calls. So let's see. I don't think on the 10. Shop on the 10-minute. So you took calls looking at a 10-minute chart, I think, right? So you're looking at this. All green. Looks like this wants to go higher here, Born. Let me know if I got that right. Calls long, looking for this to go higher on shop. I think that's what you were looking at.
So someone bringing up an interesting conversation, Cedric, you've been talking about defensive stocks, Mitch. What do you think about LHX? This stock has been lagging since the beginning of the year. One thing that I would bring up, and I brought it up in the chat just to bring it up, and I said, we need more extended war comments or something like that to really get these to pop. In my eyes, you could see problems stir in the Pacific, but other than that, this is very binary that you have to go after. I do like Lockheed Martin's chart a little bit better if you go off the monthly charts, because you can see this bottoming action. But you got to be careful with Lockheed, because one of the things is the spread gets a little wide. And I've tried to play this before, and I've gotten kind of just, let's say, chopped out of it just because of the chop action. And I didn't read it well with the share size. And so that's one thing that I'd put it on like kind of concern. But other than that, it doesn't look too bad to maybe make a run back towards 475 and 500s. I can see the play making sense here. Now, the only question is, will you get some kind of supporting comments from maybe some war concerns or something like that? That's what I'd be looking at in the Lockheed Martin and in defensive space. CELH moving. I can take a look at that. Celsius, of course, I talked about that this one probably would have a good report, but I can't trade it up here. It's a little bit too strong. Maybe take a look at Monster. I like Monster on the up move, and you can see how it's been up here plenty of times. Recently just went through that 58. This one doesn't look too bad on the pullback. Now it's back towards 58.25s. Will it be able to hold kind of the 1 hour pattern? It did get a lift as of recent, just pulled back. Below that, I'd look for it to hold now support around here, around the 58s. Get back up there to 59 if it wants to start making a move. Monster, maybe following CELH. Doesn't look too bad there. And then, of course, we'll see if anything else gets into the green. Technology still in the green, but not really kind of just taking off, right? It started to slow down a little bit. Names like NVIDIA, though, getting the lift, right? Like that's a squeeze out the shorts type of move. If you were short NVIDIA, even on Friday, are you getting squeezed out? Pretty close, right? Like even if you got the best price on Friday, you're pretty close to getting squeezed out. So be careful out there, team. We could be seeing our rallies to prior support that creates resistance there and then move right back down. That's where I get a little bit weary about this trade, because there's a lot of things in the red and not a lot of things in the green. If this was different, if I had 6 sectors into the green, I might trust this rally. If it's only one sector, am I going to trust it? Probably not. And I'm always going to tell you guys how I see it, right? You guys make your own call.
Smoke Tuna mentioning ASNS. This did look like this was kind of flagging here, like it might pop back towards the VWAP. Got a little wiki there, but to the downside. But let's see. This one a little bit thin, it seems, but this might be a really good call, Tuna. See if we can get back there. I got the VWAP at 168 here. I try a little bit of this. We'll see. ASNS. Yeah, I'm going to try a little bit. Bought a little bit at 152. We'll add if it comes in a little bit.
Big important price for Apple to hold 178 on this pullback and then get back above 179. If I do see 177.25 takedowns on the downside, that's where I could see the market start to drag also. And I think that it's not a bad area to start looking at this as on the 1 hour chart. You can see multiple bottoms in that area around the 177. I think some people, at least longer term traders, are probably looking at that area being like, I'll risk off 177 here and maybe take a shot to the upside. Now, the only question is, will technology hold the move today and continue driving higher?
Jared, I love this. I want to take a stab at shorting NVIDIA. I really do. I'm nervous to just straight up short the actual equity. The puts are super expensive. NVDS is a really, really good way to play this. And just for all of you that might not be aware of what this is a leveraged ETF. You can see with NVIDIA being up, this thing is straight down. Might try a little bit of this for earnings. This, to me, feels a little bit safer than exposing myself short to NVIDIA. I mean, we're still waiting to see if they actually executed on that huge guide they gave us last quarter.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say is a warning sign, though, is remember, NVIDIA is already down about 15%. So the correction could have already come in the stock.
Which I think, and I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to speak for him, but Jared, I think this is why he's saying I'll be starting this again soon. We're trading up here today. If it trades back up into that, maybe that's the thought process here. But Mitch, the only point that I was making is that I think NVDS might be a safer way to expose yourself to more downside.
We were talking about that last week as it went through the 8. I missed it. Remember, I was trying to get 8, and then it just went through 8, and it never looked back to 790s. I wanted it to go back to 790s that day, and I never grabbed it on that NVDS. I still have it written down here like I saw it, right? So this little kind of like flagging action, and then we went through that spot right here, which was a very important spot. It was on the 8-8. We were looking at this, and then it just started crossing, right there on that day. We were looking at it. It crossed through. From that point, the next day we got to pull back to 806, held 8, never went back to the 790s. So what would I be looking for here? I'd be looking for pullbacks towards like 819, as close to that 8 as possible, so I could risk off of that level. That's what I would be looking for on the pullback here. Doesn't seem too bad. Of course, if you get all the way back to the 8s, you should get pretty good back on NVIDIA overall, probably back towards like this 436 and maybe even this 440 area. That's an area that I might risk off of the 450s, because then you're at least a little closer towards like a mental and a kind of a mental hurdle to get back over, which is that 450. But be careful out there, team. Remember, when you're shorting the strong stock, at least the way I like to go about it for swings is take really quick profits and then look for the stock to continue, but never let the stock go back above my entry, because these are the strong stocks, right? These are the ones that get squeezed, and you got to be careful. Like even like an SMCI, if I was short this name today, I'd start being a little bit careful, and I'd want it to continue doing what? I want it to continue doing higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, right? So you see the high here, 279, 272. I wouldn't want that past that 272 today, because I'd be getting out on SMCI. Got to know when to get out also on the shorts. That's the hard part, I feel, on shorts. Not necessarily opening them. It's also when to take the money and run. Yeah, be careful with the NVIDIA short. I agree. I've done them, and I even won last week on NVIDIA short. But what did I do? It was just an overnight trade. Immediately in the morning, I covered. We got to be quick with these shorts a lot of the times, because you're still fighting a bull market, right? The overall trend is still bull market. Let's put that in perspective, right? We are retracing, but we're still in a bull market, and we're getting correction, not market crash, right? Complete difference. If we were getting a market crash, that's where we could be a little bit concerned, right? But we're not. We're getting correction.
A correction is what's needed. It's healthy for the market.
Yeah, I'm in a complete agreement with that. That's what I'm waiting for too here.
And then some people will say, well, what type of correction will we get? Will we get a 5% or a 10%? If it's 5%, we've already gotten the correction. Now, if it's 10%, we're going to need a little bit further down.
But I mean, does it really matter? Because that's what a market does. A market just can't go up and keep going
But it
up.
does matter, though, in the sense of like trading right now, right, Nick?
True.
Because if you're trying to determine, like, do I go swing trading on these AI names, these tech names now, you know, the worst thing you don't want to see is another like 5 or 6% down. But if you have a longer time horizon, then yes, I agree with you, Nick. It doesn't matter if it's going to be 5 or 10.
By the way, Crow was mentioning Tasha here for potentially one more push. Here we go. It looks like it's going. Tasha here. This does look good. Really need some volume here to push it. 155 was a little bit of a spot that they then took out. So we'll see if this moves higher here. I actually took some here at 175. 155, excuse me. Crow mentioning a wild stock, HRYU. I thought Street Fighter Hadouken in my mind when I read that, but probably because it was Ryu, H-Ryu, but whatever. All right, Tasha, let's see if we can move higher here. Remember, there were earlier on the first push, 162 was a spot that it traded a lot of volume, 1.5 million shares just about there, and it broke through it. Let's see where TSHA can go this time. Really needs a push right here. So a little bit of size here at 158. We'll see if they take it.
All right, Q's continuing to climb, right? And now you're seeing tech up about 0.47%, and healthcare just went green. Drug manufacturers starting to get the lift there. Eli Lilly. So healthcare, an area that you guys can be looking at today. We'll see if that continues into the green. But you're even seeing Pfizer up. getting a little bit of a push. Gilead getting a little bit of a push. Gilead has been kind of quiet for a while now. I've been watching this channel and it's actually starting to hold above the channel. This makes it a little bit interesting to maybe risk off of the 79 area here on Gilead. I'm actually willing to take a shot on this one. So let me see if I can get a pullback here closer towards 80.11. I really wouldn't mind that, an 80 spot there on Gilead, then risking off the 79 there for the swing. You guys see the daily chart here, and I was waiting for this to kind of make this move last time. It pulled back a little bit further, but now starting to hold above the 80s on pullbacks. That looks good there for me.
Tasha moving here, or it was trying to anyway. I'd stop out and not let the trade go red on me for the second leg here. But what I really want to see it do is get above 162. That's what I'm waiting for. So stop going to be at break even. Looking for a move, and it stopped out at break even. Okay, look, still looking for a move above 162, but I don't need to give back any of my profits today should this thing pull back towards its VWAP. So there's the strategy outlook on why I took it off so early.
Yeah, I kind of like this Gilead, so I'm going to take a shot here, at least a starter.
Crow, were you talking about Tasha? Because literally that's what just happened. Yeah, I think you and I are on the same wavelength here. That being said, if we do break above 162, I'd be interested in it again.
Starter there on Gilead could add to this position. Just took it at 80.28. So boom, trying to take some healthcare names as I'm starting to see the healthcares go up. I'm looking for some healthcare names to take some shots in. That's going to be my first one there. That's in the drug major manufacturers, but could take a look at some other areas. Even medical devices starting to get stronger. And I heard a lot of people start mentioning these names, and that's what I like to hear too, because if they mention it, maybe it starts getting on the radars. So I'm keeping an eye out on these names starting to bounce back. Medical device names starting to get a little bit of a bounce back. Man, Dexcom's been hit hard. That's one that I'd probably invest in if it came down far enough, just because I've seen their products and a lot of people say they're superior products. But we'll see what happens to these. SMCI still going. Let's see. It just bounced off that 255, went up there towards the 259, now pulled back here. Let's see if it goes right back for the next leg there and a little leg higher. It's done an up 1, down 1, up 2, down 2, up 3, down 3. Shouldn't, in my book, break the 255 now on pullbacks. What do you want to see it close below that? It just went to 255.02. Let's see if it takes out the 260 and then gives you, if I measure the flag, that's about 955 on the break from around, let's say 257. I'm going to say about there, maybe 266 on the breakout. If it really wants to get moving, we'll see if it gets moving back up to that level. Where's the next resistance I see? Next resistance I see is around the 263 mark. Then from there, around your 267, 268 level, we'll see if SMCI really gets moving today. All right, let's see if anything else starts going into the green, and the sectors are slowly leaking into the green. So we want to see those to try to catch those as they start to turn and the market starts to get back to the upside. The SPY starting to drive up starts to show me that there you are. You're starting to see a rotation. What started this move? Technology. Now you're seeing the overall market come in as you're seeing the SPY start to grind higher. It's not just one names in these technology names. Now you're starting to get different names to start going higher. The healthcare names, right? And what's leading in the kind of the SPY, right? You got a bunch of tech names, and then you go into healthcare like Lilly, UNH. Those are starting to push. Even Visa starting to push. And if financials aren't going to go down today, JPM getting a little bit of a bounce there, that's helping it out as you're starting to see these hold up here. We'll see if these can keep pushing. There's a couple other ones there that we'll start to point out. Let's go to the biggest movers in the SPY today. MU, Micron continuing, NVIDIA continuing to squeeze. And that's the hard part about NVIDIA. Now, everybody that's shorted on like kind of Friday is now underwater. That's where I talked about how it can be really hard to be a shorter in NVIDIA because you felt like you had a good position. Now you're underwater really quickly. So look at that rip up. This is the danger about shorting NVIDIA, right? And let's say if you were, for some reason you battled back and you were like, your out was 410 and you didn't listen to it there, you never got a chance to go back to 410. So I will put that warning out there. Stick to your risk and reward if you're taking a high risk trade like NVIDIA. All right, let's keep going, team. We'll see what other ones are making moves. Yeah, a lot of stay safe out there. Especially, I agree, Jan. You got to be careful. This market is wicked. That's what I'll say. Wicked. All right, Penn did make that move above 24 and starting to hold. So at least the reversal and that one's doing pretty decent. I'm still looking for DKNG to really completely bottom out. And I might even take some DKNG. I'm just looking for a move back down closer between the 38.2 and 50% retracement. So that's closer towards 25 and 22s or 23s on DraftKings. I'm still looking for the pullback. I kind of would love to take this, especially if it could get down in that space before the end of August, right before the NFL season. I'll go buying. We'll see what happens. All right, just going to continue to try to work that Penn position and then just work the Gilead. Slightly just right there. So I'm looking for a little bit more pullback in Gilead to add, but hey, we're starting to get that up action in the market. Soxel has been definitely a good play on the day. That's up there to 2178 now and continuing to grind higher. Hasn't even pulled back to support. What's my profit target in Penn? I would look for it to go back to where it came from, right? And so it got up there to 29s. I could first look for like a move to 27, and that'd already be a pretty decent gain. But I'm looking for this like a little bit longer, right? It's going to be more dependent on how also we get reactions from the NFL season, because I need to see that start to play in here, right? I want to see Penn get excited, put out some news, DraftKings start bouncing back. And another thing is I have a lot of bottoming to go off on this chart. I need it to get back up to the resistance really quickly. If it can do that, it can actually be a little bit bigger of a swing trade back up towards this level, 29.38. And then now we're back towards 30, 32 off of 24s. That would be a big outlook, at least in my eyes. Now we're talking what? Potentially maybe 25% on this position. Things like that is what I'd be looking for on Penn. I'm looking for a bigger gain with a $1 risk.
So I had to go to the washroom.
And then a lot of things that I heard a lot of people get real negative on Penn real quick because it did this pullback. That's when I want to go in it, to tell you the truth.
Buy the pulls. Buy the pulls.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like everyone just starts getting real pessimistic. And my thing is I have levels to go off of. You know what I mean? Like these levels, they should hold here. And if they don't, then I know when to get out. It's right there. I'm not going to fight it through 23s. Hell no. And that's what I like to trade. Trades like that where I can be like, I know for sure where everyone would probably look at this in and out. No one's probably sticking around through 23s there. And I'll just play it off of that. Starting to get a little bit of a drive higher there in Penn. Looking good. All right, let's go to the overall market SPY up there to 446. Can we keep on climbing, baby?
Our good old friend Rigetti trying to make highs. Remember, the high that we had on Friday was 275. Currently at 253 here on Rigetti. This strong doesn't have the huge volume we had last week, but strong action so far here today. Just mentioning it.
Let's go, Penn. Let's get up there. What's a good close on the daily, right? Let's go looking at the daily. So a move back towards like 24.75. That kind of closing would look really good for me in Penn. From that point, I can start going even back towards 24 and being like, yeah, just hold 24s and start making that move. I'm just glad I was patient in Penn. That's another thing. And I bought it on the red candle, which is hard to do, right? That's where most people get scared about buying things, is on red candles. But that's what I like to do, guys. I like to short green candles, and I like to buy red candles. I don't know why, but That's the way I go about it. It works for me. Nvidia, no stop, man. Right back up there to the 421. Now trying to hold that as support as you come back to prior resistance, trying to act as what? Right here. It's just trying to act as resistance now and put it right back to below. Remember last time I actually played Nvidia on a very similar move, an hour up in the market and then smacking it back down through a prior resistance, and that's using more hourly charts, right? And so you look to the left, you say where was the support before? Somewhere around this 421. It doesn't need to be exact at 421, but somewhere here was acting as support, right? Somewhere in there. So we're going to extend this and look for that area to act as what? Resistance this time and reject that. Will it reject it is a very important outlook, because if you get above that level, now you're really starting to reverse on the price action. So I'd be looking to see if this hourly candle can close above that 421. If not, it could pull right back down.
Look at Archer, guys. I mean, I'm not in this. But this was the trade of the day. Big move out of the gate on volume, retrace to VWAP, another move off of volume. Disappointed in myself for missing this one, not gonna lie. And this is one that we've talked about and has been on the radar recently. And I just straight up missed it here today. Hope someone caught it. Great trade here on Archer.
Interesting question here from Gemini, but more asking for long-term approach to buy dips on stocks and things like that. We can't necessarily tell you where to buy a specific stock because that's not what we're here for. But one thing that I would say is I would just use deeper time frames, because that's another question that you asked there. That's one I could answer, at least from my experience. Deeper time frames. What do I mean? I mean, using like daily, weeklies, monthlies to take a look at where you're going up against these stocks and where they're coming from, right? Especially the weekly chart and the monthly chart, because that's going to give you an ability to look at what? Prior supports, prior resistance, to see if they're starting to act as a new support or a new resistance on the stock. So like Nvidia, that's why I point out that 450 mark so much, right? If I go to the weekly mark on Nvidia, what do I see here? Support all around this kind of 442. And where did we reject from? A move back above 450s. So a move back up above that level, I'd be concerned. But if I'm looking for stocks to pull back a decent amount and I'm looking to get stocks, well, that's another way to go about it, is look at the weeklies, and then you can go off of deeper time frames. Like I said, for Lockheed Martin, right? So Lockheed Martin, I only like really looking at this on a monthly candle and then working my way backwards. So I see monthly support here, monthly resistance starting to act as new support. That's what I want to see. Now I want to know, okay, on the weeklies, how is it setting up? And then I move backwards, not forwards. That's what helps me. I always start from bigger time frames to smaller time frames to find out how the recent price action is doing.
Yeah, I was going to say, simply put, my answer for this, Mitch, would be very similar to yours. If you're looking for something long-term, let's take Archer. We're talking about it for day trades here, but it's making some interesting chart formations. If you're looking for a longer-term entry, look at a longer-term time frame. And my first step is always to go to the daily. The daily is probably the most used chart in terms of my analysis. I probably keep the 1 minute chart up because I do so much day trading on a regular basis, but the daily chart, probably the most important. And like Mitch said, also move to the weekly. What this will allow you to do is allow you to find important spots. Like for example, here on Archer, this 550, this was a spot. This was previous resistance. When we blew through it, it became support. And you can use these types of things. Mitch will show you all types of different things, that strategies or indicators that you can use. His rule of three, Mitch, don't you normally do that on a daily chart?
Especially.
So all of these things, you whatever patterns you can recognize, always start by looking at longer term. I know, and I'm really glad that you asked this question, because like I said, we spend so much time looking at the 1 minute chart for the intraday day trading. I think it's important to realize that if you step back, you can learn more about levels that will hold up by doing so. And that should help with both your entries and your exits.
And I always say this, like, so for day trading, what do I sometimes says? I want to trade like the algos for day trading. But when I'm thinking long term, I want to trade like the institutionals that take time to get in their positions, that I go about things, and you see it. Sometimes I go about things buying up and building an average price, because a lot of times even the institutionals know that they're not going to be able to perfectly time the market. Now, what they can do is build a position and try to better their positions using things like VWAP, trying to
Mhm.
attack different things to better their average. And I think about this, right? Like for day trading, I want to trade like an algo. I want to be very objective. I want to know exactly where I'm getting in and out, like almost if I was written in code. Now, when I'm thinking long term, I want to think like the bigger banks traders. Even though I don't have to struggle with getting my position in and out, that can also help me what? Not try to time the market so much, but try to build the position in really high quality stocks. Can I explain the rule of three logic? Yeah, I can, SS Trades. The big thing there is just it's all about pattern recognition and looking for stocks to sometimes build up consolidation. And we can look for patterns out there, like you guys out there. Let's do it this way. And I'll throw it out to anybody out there. If you're just like maybe not taking too many trades right now, like I am, just kind of patiently waiting here. If you guys have any flag pattern, any triangle pattern, that has recently maybe make a breakout from that, or you're looking at it, throw it up in the chat. We can take a look at the rule of three on all of those. And the rule of three logic really comes in with a little bit of kind of I would say, a deeper thought in Japanese candlestick trading, because the truth is that in Japanese culture, three is considered lucky and four is considered super unlucky. That's like the unlucky number that you want to see. And so that's
Well, you
also where
better
the
thread
pattern
that
of
needle
three came
correctly,
from.
Mitch.
So,
Those are cool stuff.
on the fourth attempt, if we can't get through, I view that as the unlucky turnaround there on the rule of three, and then you get smacked down. So, and it doesn't have to always be three. Sometimes I've seen stocks like kind of, just chop around a level, and then eventually it does make a move. But a lot of times I'm looking for three moves. And we'll talk a little bit about those. You guys throw up some of those names, and I can take a look at them. All right, let's keep going. Three is a fib, number two. No worries. I got you, Mystery.
Yeah, the move on Hyrule is H Ryu is wild. I'm not even gonna
Pen.
look at that.
Let's go, guys. And you know what the good thing is that I'm starting to swing trade with this account and not burn up my day trades with the small account Mumu. And that's really important for me. The more I can do that, the more I'm going to feel more comfortable to just keep doing it more and more. I've been really trying to more and more to trade more with smaller size. The small account is actually helping me do this, and even going smaller and smaller. And I'm like, man, I could still make money though. I could still make money, and that's what matters, right? We're all here to make money. And I think sometimes we think about things way too much in one trade perspective versus 20 trade perspective, right? And if we can keep that in mind, things can add up. If I can take 50 trades, be 60% accurate on those 50 trades, and I'm going at it at a 3-to-1 outlook, what will be my capital at the end of that? So important when you're going into trading to do processed approach like this.
All right, couple of questions here. First of all, I'm going to take Burls here first because I think this is something that we can build on as we see it, or as we see it unfold. Burls asking, how does one recognize what the algos are doing? Okay, so I'm going to take a stab at this first here. First of all, there's no way that I can say with 100% certainty what someone else's created algorithm is doing. But what I can do is I can recognize what types of patterns that I see. So for example, if we have AI, let's use AI because that one is recent. When a PR would come out about AI, it doesn't matter what the stock was, even if it was a known kind of scammy stock from some point in the past, it didn't really matter. The fact that it was AI was in the PR, algorithms are picking that up and buying it. So I would say the easiest way to recognize this, Burl, is going to be pattern recognition. And when you notice that the same things are happening over and over and over again, that should kind of trigger what you think is going to happen the next time that you see it. AI is the best example I can think of from recent because it was rampant. It was everywhere. And some random bake sale company could put out an AI PR and their stock goes up 30%. These are algorithms buying pieces of news that they hear. There's no there's no like one tried and true way. It's just pattern recognition, in my opinion. The other question here, SS Trades is asking you, Mitch, does Rigetti RGTI Friday move after open qualify for your rule of 3?
Okay, I'll read that question again and then
Okay.
I'll answer in a second. So Friday's move after the open qualify. All right. So what time frame also? Because that's going to matter SS Trades, but I'll take a look at it. I have no problem watching it for you.
He's
Are you
taking
talking
a
about
look
the
at
reversal action just right out the gates? That's what I would question first. And I do see it already. That's how quickly I see the rule of 3 too. That's another thing too, right? I've adapted my eyes to just literally looking for it. It's actually doing another rule of 3 to the upside right now in the hourly. Get into that action right now. Just want to hear what your outlook was there, and then we can talk a little bit about the recent price action also.
5 min is what he said.
5 minute? Okay, let's do that. I'm going to bring us to it right now. Just give me a
Okay,
second here.
I'm gonna put your chart up.
No printing screen here. All
That's
right, guys.
shortcut for screenshots.
Yeah. All right, guys. So on the 5 minute, right? So the move out the gates here, this is not going to give you much edge, right? On this, right? So like I wouldn't have been able to play this straight up move, right? A lot of times I play VWAP pullbacks. Now we can talk about the recent move, but let's talk about why I could have maybe looked for a reversal action coming in to Rigetti, right? Is that I would look at the hourly chart and I would look at the recent pullback. Why the hourly? The hourly makes things stand out like hell. Like I'll tell you that right now. They make patterns seem bigger, and I think that that's important to see like where the trend is, right? And so a lot of times I'm looking for downside action in the stock, right? And so we've got to be looking for these downside actions to come in earlier, right? There's this little wick down here, then eventually you break that wick down here, and now you're really starting to build the bottoming actions in the stock, right? You get another kind of attempt here to go down through this low here, and now we're starting to really build some support right underneath here. That's when I start drawing kind of support lines, and I'm looking for what moves back to that level and showing me reversal signals. Reversal signals are like candles, like inverse kind of hammer candies. They call them the shooting star patterns, things like that. We want to see this reversal pattern, and this is exactly what you get when it starts making this attempt right here. And a lot of times I'm looking for that attempt to come in and then quick reversal action. That's exactly what you get in Rigetti here. So everybody that was shorting through this just got caught. Now they need to get out of their position as the stock is squeezing out. And what do they need to do? Usually cover at the open. That's how you get reaction like you got on Rigetti out the open, where it's straight up. Why? Because shorters are getting the hell out of this name and buyers are buying it up. So where's all the volume going? To the upside, right? And then so boom, you get that nice little pop. Now we got to look for retracements, right? And now I can tell you guys the stock just recently today, right? We'll do the rule of 3 from Friday's price action to today. And then so I'm going to draw resistance tries in with a circle, and then we're going to draw support tries with the rectangle. So this is the first attempt to go to the upside, right? It's that first action that goes up without heavy pullback. Now you get this heavy pullback. This is your first kind of support action. Now we're going for another resistance try. We do that in the pre-market. And then now I'm looking for another support try. Now we're going for another resistance try. We just got that, right? Now I'd be looking for another support try, because as long as we can continue with the trend higher and higher lows, we can continue this trend and then just start ripping above this level. So now that we've had 1, 2, 3 pullbacks, I'd be looking for this to now start holding this spot. Wouldn't want it to break this spot and continue higher. You can always measure the flag also here, but it's all about looking at resistance, support, and then giving you the ability to not be freaked out by when the stock goes to resistance, almost looking for it to pull back. Because I want to buy pullbacks here. I want to be getting in on the stock here versus getting in on the stock up here. I would much rather get in here, know where the support is, 218, risk off that 218, see the stock go to 250, feel super comfortable in the position, and then watch it break out. We'll see what happens there on Rigetti.
260,
and of course, a little bit of a strategy
is that potential spot to break out, Mitch. And it's right there.
It looks great because let's say if you got in there at 250, how are you feeling right now compared to a person that got in there on this pullback at 229 to 230s? You'd be feeling a lot better, right, at 230s if you got in there than 250.
No question.
And Ryan knows especially all about this because he does a little bit sometimes like more of a scalp strategy on these.
Yep.
So he knows that like right now he'd be like this, 260, let's go. Give me that last little pop.
I'm in at 252, Mitch. I'm in small size at 252, and you're absolutely right. I want it to pop above 260, but I have my size adjusted accordingly. If this goes lower, I'd actually add to it as long as it shows that strength. Look at that, Mitch, rejected at 260. One of the reasons why buying that, you were just talking about wanting to add lower. There you go. We've identified a very, very clear spot here. There's no question about it, but there's no telling that we're going to go through that. Add lower, buy the pullbacks. One of the things we've been talking about is buying at the top end of the range really hasn't worked all that well. Same is true here on Rigetti. We'll see if we get through 260 this time. Back up here.
I'm glad you enjoy that SS trades. And honestly, this is something that I want you guys to look after. I've talked about this. I've mentioned this to all traders. Guys, if you guys, I don't want you necessarily using the rule of three right now, but finding the pattern yourself. Find the pattern. Wait to the point where you see it like I see it, and then tell me about this. Am I wrong in my thinking? Am I true in what I'm seeing? You guys tell me. Find the stocks out there that are doing this, and necessarily just take maybe even screenshots. Send them to me. Hey, Mitch, the rule of three worked on this stock. It did not work on this stock. I can always review it, and we can talk about it right here on live trading.
Rigetti, by the way, through that 260 spot.
I see 265 now. Looking good, my friend.
265, there's a big spot there. They hit some of that stock. We'll see. And they took it?
The bid came up there.
Oh, right, no, they didn't take it. They just refreshed it.
They put it, they almost lined it up at 265 there. I saw for a second. It's probably a little hidden size there at 265. Let me see. Right now, let's go to it. Let me see how the price action's looking like here.
Rigetti, okay. This stock, man. This stock.
The bigger seller at 35,000 shares that are waiting up there. I could see it like maybe a 270, 280 pop here, but like always, you guys see what you guys are going after. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing based off of like the level twos and the orders that are out there. There's a big order for pullback fill at 250. So why? Because that person doesn't want it to come back there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't want that to fill at 250. He's just throwing the order out there to make it lean on,
show some support, yeah. Show that
you know what I'm talking about
out there. Yep.
Yeah, Ryan, using your buying power to show bid support, and that makes the algos.
It can get you in trouble though if it goes south.
The algos see that though. The algos, trust me, the algos see this faster than I can see it, man, and they'll start looking at that and they'll be like, okay, well, let's see if we can get it down to him, fill him, and then smack it back up. So that's where we got to be careful always. Some people call this spoofing, but it's not really spoofing because you're putting your money up to a line, right? I mean, you get hit, that's on you, bro.
I'd rather have a strategy that doesn't involve anything that could be considered spoofing. have I mean, I don't need to deceive someone else, or
But
some
that's what the
others.
market does, Ryan. Let's
Right.
be honest. Whether we want to or
I don't
not,
need to
the
do that,
market
though.
does it all the time. I don't do that because I don't got the money to do that, Ryan. But I'll tell you right now, if I had the buying power, would I do like setups like that where I'm putting a bid order to show bid support? Yes, Ryan, I would. I'm just gonna be clear as day. I would.
265 done on Rigetti. Well, they took it and refreshed it here.
Yeah, Walter, we know we know the deal, man. We know the deal, Walter. You see it all the time, guys. They say spoofing's illegal, but I don't think anybody. When's the last time you heard someone got hit on spoofing? Exactly.
Got stopped out on Rigetti on this pullback. Take the gains off. Wait for it to set up again.
I like
Wait
it.
for Archer to set up again. Yeah, I'm trying to do things. I'm trying to do things the smart way. I'm trying to, I'm trying to not be as aggressive and figure out the smart way to do things.
Your strategy is not for you to be in a stock for a long period of time, right? Your stock.
Well, not these. No, but it depends on what the criteria is. If there's a good underlying story and fundamentals, yes, I want to be in there for the long run. If we're talking about technicals and different pops and stuff like that, nah, man, I'm there to get my money and get out.
Love it. Love to hear it, man. SPY continuing to the upside, guys.
Take care,
Reversal action today. Definitely Qs continuing to the upside. Now we got 3 sectors into the green from the open. Consumer cyclical joining the party. Is the AI story done? Well, the truth is that we're going to need to actually hear about what? I've been saying it now for about 3 weeks. Show me the money. That's what we need, guys. Why do you think Sound tried to bring in actual revenues talk on AI? They're smart. They're smart.
And Rigetti just kind of stopped me and went right back to that 265 high. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
You want a cookie? Higher. I'll send you one, Ryan.
I don't need any cookies, man. No.
Okay.
No. I just want to let you guys know I will be looking for an ad on Gilead towards 80. 80 will be the ad. I have 80.28, so that'll put me back down towards like 14, 15, something like that. And then I'll be looking to hold off of the 79.50s for the swing. Someone asked me about my outlook on that. That was my outlook. Of course, you choose your own, but that's the way I see Gilead. I'd want us to hold the 80 pullback now and to get right back up there.
Man, Rigetti. Highs. Rigetti.
Bid action coming in. There's 270s coming up. Now there's a seller there at 75s. I see 12,000 shares sitting there. So this is how I like to catch people, right? Because a lot of people like to put their orders out way too quickly. So to me, that person that's trying to sell at 275 here is putting it out way too quickly because they're showing their hand.
On Rigetti, you mean?
Yeah. On ARCA, 12.95 sitting there. And so remember how I told you there was 30,000 earlier at 3? The 35 is still sitting there, but now you have another wall at the 75, so which is 12,900. Now it's 13,000 shares there at 75s. So that's going to act as a small wall for a second. We'll see if we're able to blow through that.
SS trades, love hearing that, man. Love hearing it. After tough, this was my higher gain trade. Kudos to you guys. Glad it's working for you. Glad it's working for you. At the end of the day, as we always say, you're the one pushing the buttons. But if there's things along the way that we can help you with,
yeah,
then that makes it totally worth it. That's what the entire core premise of Benzinga is to help the retail guy. Love to hear it. Absolutely love to hear it.
Everything's starting to come back here, guys, even steel. So now you're starting to get X coming back and holding VWAP. That could get a lift there today. Of course, there's still some premium that could come into a deal if X does get bought out. Steel's starting to go up there. And I'm starting to see a lot of sectors starting to leak to the green. They're still not flipping there, but they're starting to push on the upside. So like financial services starting to push to the upside, basic materials starting to push to the upside. And of course, if all sectors go green, yeah, this is going to continue to rally back. Energy is the weakest area, in utilities. Those are areas that I don't see as strong. But what do I want to see? Stocks that are above the VWAP and continuing, or sectors that are above VWAP and continuing. So that's going to be your industrial, that's going to be your financial, and your basic materials. Let's see if those flip into the green. Defensive is right below the VWAP, but I would definitely be looking at these other ones. Financials seem interesting as they're bouncing. Steel seem interesting. That's in the green. We'll see if something else goes green there.
I was going to say, watch Ford. They're currently holding a conference call right now, and we're just getting some headlines regarding from the conference call. Ford is saying, a Ford exec saying on the call that the auto industry to change more in next 5 years than the last several decades. Ford president and CEO
100%.
Jim Farley. What'd you say, Mitch?
I said 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say Ford president and CEO Jim Farley and former Apple Services, now a Ford employee, Peter Stern. They're hosting a media Q&A currently right now. This is all about Stern's hiring to lead the newly formed Ford Integrated Services that we brought you at the top of the show. And on the call, Ford CEO Farley saying that the company's first software-enabled vehicle is coming out in conjunction with our second-generation EVs. They go on to say that the safety and security services represent significant opportunity to improve customer experiences. They say the new services will be, quote, fastest growing revenue, end quote, at company with, quote, enormous margins, end quote. New digital architecture out in 2025 won't limit to EVs. We'll put on the F-150.
All right, we'll see what happens on Ford. Still watching Penn to see if that can continue to climb. Doesn't look too bad. I see BK&G still go down. Still thinking there's going to be like right now. I think there's some arbitrage trade there, like where you're short DraftKings, long Penn. I could see that being played. All right, technology almost up a full percent now. So that's where you got to be careful, guys. Look where NVIDIA is now, 426 out of that bearish kind of area where it could flip right back, and there you go. That's where you get the squeeze on, and that's where it's dangerous, guys. It's all the way back up there, 426, and it made a move down out the gate, so it went red to green on you where it can really trap you. It's up about 5% from the open. Yeah, Monday's a nice move for sure. There's nothing wrong with looking at Monday, right? They had earnings. We talked about those on pre-market prep. It wasn't a bad one. This is actually one that I could see some AI actually really helping it out. There's other ones that I don't. I can see like anything like that has HR related, things like that. Yeah, it will get helped out. All right, guys, it's about 10:48. We're going to start wrapping it up here in just a few seconds. We'll get you guys over to the Trader Bacon show. That's coming up next, so don't go anywhere, team. We got a lot more for you guys right here on Benzinga. Trader Bacon show coming up next.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Rigetti looking like it's trying to take out 270. PGen really strong. Let's bring up Rigetti, though. This has been crazy the last few days. There's Rigetti, and I'll tell you what, this spot here, this 275 spot, this looking awfully good. I want to buy Rigetti here, but with being so far away from the VWAP, I feel like there's a pull coming here.
274, 11,000 shares waiting there.
Gemini is asking, Ryan, may I ask what your requirement is for looking at stocks? I don't really have many requirements, Gemini. I would say I'm looking at what's moving. What I do in the morning every day is I look at the stocks that are going to get. And then during the day, I look at relative volume. Relative volume is often going to find more of these smaller price stocks just by the way it works. I wouldn't say I necessarily have a requirement. Even my requirement for trading stocks above $1, occasionally I'll break that and trade penny stocks if the setup is that good. So Rigetti going for that 275 spot right now, folks.
The seller
Later,
order
Paul.
just moved it up. Remember how I said 275? They moved it to 278. You see 14,900 shares there. So they're slightly moving it up as the price action gets closer to it. They think that they can get a couple more pennies, so they slightly moved it up to 278 here. We'll see what happens if it can get through that wall. It's not a massive wall, right? It's only 15,000, but there is a 12,000 buyer bid support at 270. So of course, I'm just looking at ARCA. There's many books you guys can be looking at, right? But I'm looking at the ARCA book here. So I think the market makers might take that 12,000 shares at the 270s. I'll look to see if it gets hit really quickly, and then you see it come right back up towards like 274. Did get hit some there. Saw some shares get filled there, but let's see that there's the 270s. Let's see if he gets taken out.
Here, let me get your chart up. I'm sorry. I was still watching Rigetti.
This is on the Moo.
Got you.
I'll pull it up here though.
Okay.
So you guys can see it there. You guys can. I'm watching it right there. And so you see the 270s. There's 2,000 shares that just went through there. That's what I'm watching. Stuff like that. Okay, so now he just disappeared there. He either got filled or he pulled it off. I think he got filled there. There's 9,700 shares there at 270s. Watch. Now I'm going to look for it to come right back up to the offer side, which is that 272. There's 12,000 shares waiting at that 272, which is causing a little bit of resistance. Right after that, there's 14,000 at 278. So I think there's some selling trying to get out. There's some people trying to take their profits here. We'll see what happens. Will it take the next leg? This is why I used to do this, and I don't do it as often as I did before, but I used to always like separate all this algorithmic volume and try to filter out anything that's small so I can see the big orders go through. So like on a stock like this that you're seeing so many like 100 share orders go through, I could care less about the 100 share orders. I want to see something that's like higher than 1,000, higher than 2,000 shares, because those are the bigger traders trying to trade with this. In a stock like this where you got thousands and thousands, I might even go with a time and sales of filtering out something up to, 3,000 or 5,000. Nobody talks too much about GSAT. I mean, there's not.
Wasn't that?
There's not
they
too much
have...
there, man. There, just because one thing I'll say is that just because something's like integrated with every sector doesn't mean it's the best stock either, right? There's a lot of stocks like this. I mean, there's a lot of stocks that have to do with a lot of things in the world, but just don't get the appreciation. Remember, sometimes appreciation is also for growth outlooks.
Didn't GSAT have something with Apple for the Apple car or something like that?
I think GSAT recently had something to do with I remember there was some recent news, but I don't believe in it too much, man.
Yeah.
This stock is a pop and dropper. Look at the chart. Charts speak for themselves, man.
Look at UCAR.
UCAR. Oh, good lord.
I'm not in it. Just I'm seeing it move.
What is UCAR? Never even heard of it.
UPower.
UPower is getting the squeeze right now.
I think we've just seen this off of a relative volume scan. I don't know anything about the actual company itself. I don't. I'm just noticing it's spiking right now, and I'm not in it. That's all that's going on.
Yeah, that could help Carvana get a little bit of a push there, but UCAR getting a little bit of a lift. It's squeezed though. Spread's about 15 cents. Be careful on that. Yeah, Stop Console saying rock solid. You're right. It doesn't get the appreciation like C3 AI went underneath the radar for a while. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? It's sometimes stocks just don't get the appreciation and love that they deserve, right? And this is going to happen. This is where logic has to separate from what you actually got to do in trading, because sometimes it can make all the logic to invest in a stock. But the truth is if you look at it and you look at it technically, the market says no. And the market says no, why do I want to be in a stock, right? And so just because I like the story, you guys know I love Dutch Bros. I love it. I've had it plenty of times. I keep it by my desk. But am I long Dutch Bros right now? No. There's a reason why, right? Comparable sales down. Things that don't make sense down. I don't want to be going after something if it doesn't make sense. Has to be the right environment.
You
In a
can
growth
like
environment, ripping to the moon. Yeah, I'll go back to Bros.
you can like a product and not like the stock because of the environment or because of something going on. That to me,
100%.
that's everyday life. That's normal.
And that's
I love
real trading.
Portillo's. I love Portillo's. I don't really like how the stock is trading right now. Mostly because I don't really think the management team is doing the best job. But what I'm trying to do in the meantime is I'm trying to just nibble small on days that it's down in hopes that when it gets back to where I know it can go eventually, I'll be well positioned for that move. Just trying to do patience at that point.
Strong, baby. Google strong today, guys. This is one that I'll point out that looks really good. This actually looks good
Alexa's
on the daily.
partying with Google Strong. You know, Alexa's clapping.
Love it. And one thing to mention is it went right into the gap zone and then came right back around. Now has holding the 9 EMA. I'd look for it to hold 130 now, and it doesn't look bad. If you hold 130, it looks like it could get back there towards at least 134, 135 in reach. And like I mentioned, I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot about YouTube TV. Where is YouTube TV? Of course, under Google's belt. We'll see what happens there. Google looking strong. Doesn't look bad at all. I'd look for Amazon to maybe just catch this. Yeah, catch the bounce there. So maybe Shop looks interesting off of this 55 now. We're into the gap zone. We're bouncing off of this level. I could risk off of this 55 right below it. Maybe risk about 50 cents here. If we're really going to get an up move and stocks will come back, I think Shop starts coming back with that Amazon move. So I don't mind this one too much. Gotta look into it right quickly here, but Shop doesn't look too bad right now. I mean, their earnings were kick-ass, so that's my biggest thing too. And they've been really doing well as of late. They've gone from 3/4 of estimated in the red to recently estimated in the green just slightly by 0.6 cents, and they hit a 14-cent EPS. The first time they hit over into the profitability since essentially 2022, and that was in the February quarter. So I'm looking to see if this can continue the trend and if we can keep pushing higher on Shop. Doesn't look too bad. Shopify. I'd look for a little pullback though. I'd look for maybe like a 55 test here. So I could risk as close to that like kind of 54.50 below. Meta. Mitch, thanks for help on the reading level 2 activity. Yeah, I tried, man. And that's what I can do for you guys. I took some time there to kind of point out that there was like 274, 275 sellers. It went right to 274 and then started dropping. Right. It's not that it's always going to work out. It's just more about pointing what's on the tape. Right. And then you're always going to see a little pullbacks. Now, the big thing is it is holding the 9 EMA and not coming back to VWAP. So it's still finding some buy the dip buyers on Rigetti. And I think that's part of the market that's coming up today also.
And PGEN still ripping to the highs. I think Rigetti, speaking of Rigetti, I think that might still make another attempt at that 275. Was that the spot that we got? Yeah, 275.
What about Spotify? I don't think that's a good one. Consumer-facing product. That doesn't look good there.
Who do you use for your music? Spotify or Apple Music? Or
I pay for Spotify.
Right now, I just got a nice little 4 months for free on YouTube Premium, so I'll take that.
For me, the Spotify at $10 a month allows me to do so much. I can play whatever I want in my car. I can play whatever I want in my earbuds. Music for plane flights. The whole, it's easy.
Yeah, it is.
And at $10 a month or $9.99 or whatever it is, the price point's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm just a
excuse me.
savage with those trials.
That's the thing. Like, I know that there's ways to do that where you start a service, take advantage of the trial, cancel the service, start a different
Oh,
service.
that's my life, Ryan.
I don't have
What can I say? I'm such a cheap bastard sometimes.
No, I don't know if that's cheap. I think it's different between, saving money doesn't make you cheap. There's a million reasons to save money. A lot of them are really good. So I don't want to try to. It's just laziness on my part more than anything else.
Like I have Apple TV right now for 3 months for free, right? Am I going to keep Apple TV? More than likely, no. But can I watch all the content that I want on there in the 3 months time? Probably yes. You know what I mean? After that, I don't want it anyways. I did the same thing for HBO Max. I just watch what I wanted to watch, and then I cancel it, and then I move on to the next one.
Well, see, that's the other thing about, we talked earlier about streaming. That's the other thing, is that if there's a streaming service or some type of service that has specific content that you want to see, and you're able to get that content through a trial or through a very, very small subscription or very short subscription, to me, you're literally just buying it temporarily because of the content. Like that, I don't know that these are sustainable long term, which is why I think a package that includes all of this, so you don't have to go back and forth, is likely to be the long term winner.
Yeah, YouTube Premium is like using YouTube Music. No commercials, things like that. That's all we're all looking for, right? To skip the ads anyways.
Yep.
But that's going to do it for us today here on Live Trading. Of course, Nick Brown will be back with us tomorrow. Ryan will be back. And it's the last week for Nick Brown, at least before he goes to school. But he'll still be around here and trying to hop in when he can. You guys smash the like. I hope you guys enjoyed all the action right here on Live Trading. Now to bring you guys over to the Trader Bacon Show. Have a good one, Ryan. Have a good one, Nick. And I'm going to bring you guys over right now. Smash the like button, guys. Always right here on Benzinga.